And we are live. Great. So welcome everybody. Welcome to another live interview show with Become a Fearless Father. And today I had the pleasure to be accompanied by Reden Dionisio. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Reden, how's it going, man?
Hey, Klaas. First off, thanks for having me on your show, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So before we dive into a little bit more of your background, who's Reden, right, and what's your mission, etc., I just got to ask you, what have you noticed is like the biggest or the number one challenge for dads to get into shape, to be fit?
The biggest challenge that I've noticed with helping dads getting back into shape is everybody's complaint is about time. They always say there's not enough time as a busy dad, trying to balance out work, family, and then trying to taking care of themselves with their health and fitness.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest challenge is that I've noticed is time. Everybody says they don't have enough time to do this or they don't have enough time to do that. When in reality, we all have the time. It's just making that priority to put in the work and the time to taking care of ourselves so that we can take care of our family.
Mm-hmm. Well said. Well said. Yeah, absolutely. I actually understood that because I'm listening to this audiobook, and he was mentioning like the average American is watching 5 hours of TV and then still saying, I don't have time. Right?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
we all have the same amount. We all have 24 hours in a day. It's what we make use of it, right? Um, when I talk to fathers and trying to get to know where they're at with their health and fitness, you come to find out that they do have time. It's just like I said, just making the priority instead of
Mhm.
watching Netflix or your favorite TV shows and movies and stuff like that. And it really doesn't have to be that long. You don't have to spend hours in the gym.
Mhm.
There's things that you can do at home. Um, that can help out with your fitness.
I hear you. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you sharing that. It's actually the number one challenge, not just fitness or not just health wise, but
Yeah.
oh, I don't have time to spend with my kids. And it's like, what? So prioritizing is definitely a great tip to keep in people's minds. So, Brennan, please share with me, man. What's your background story? What have you been up to? And we're always interested in, what's your family setup look like?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the military. I'm in the Navy. I've been in the Navy for over 15 years.
Oh,
Joined when I was 19. I went to college for like a semester and realized college wasn't for me at that time because, like I said, I wasn't. We talked about making it a priority, um, and at that time I wasn't making that a priority. And I wanted to do something else. So I enlisted in the Navy.
mm-hmm.
Um, been in Navy, like I said, for 15 years. Been many different parts of the United States and the world. Gone on deployments. Been married for about 3 years now, going on 3 years with my beautiful wife. And we recently had a baby last year. She's about 10 months now. And yeah, man, life is good. It's challenging, like I said, as a new dad, as a first time dad.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, to balance out the time, but like you said, just making it a priority. What's important to you? You'll make time for.
Well said. Yep, absolutely. What's your most priority? You make time for, right? We have that
Right, right.
choice to determine what we're going to do with our time. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. And glad to hear that you're enjoying, having a 10-month daughter and that you're real about saying, look, it's a struggle, right? It's not like, yeah, I'm a dad and it's so easy because all of us know that, it comes with responsibilities and challenges.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, we're first time dad, and actually, our first grandchild for both sides. So, you know, with family, I'm thankful that my family, they're able to help out
Yes.
whenever they can. If I'm out for work, they're able to help out my wife with a baby. But yeah, it's an awesome feeling as a dad. It's just it's like nothing else. It's the most important job you'll ever have, and
Mm.
it's definitely a blessing.
Well said. Well said. Yep. I like that. Man, I appreciate you sharing that. So before we go in, because I'm very interested, you mentioned like it's challenging. Time is one of the challenges, and I'm sure you have more challenges. So I want to dive into that a little bit. However, I want to talk to you about this, if that's okay.
Mhm.
Give you an example of what happened yesterday to me. All right. So I'm talking to my wife, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, she tells me, I need to lose 5 kilos. Right. So I'm like, okay, fair enough. If that's what you think. I've been in that trap before saying, no, you don't need to use 5, or you go into discussions. I'm done with that. So I'm just saying, okay, fine. And then let me see. 30 minutes later, she go to have dinner and she grabs a bag of chips and a Coke. Right? Yeah, I'm glad you started laughing. I was dumbfounded. I'm like, didn't you just say 15 minutes ago that you want to lose 5 kilos? And
Yeah.
now I don't. So what would be your advice? Because I couldn't give any advice. I mean, I'm married to her for almost 8 years. I know that if I go and start giving her advice, I'm on slippery ice right there, right? So what would be your advice to somebody like this that says, okay, yeah, I want to lose 5 kilos, but then immediately just goes back to those old bad habits?
Yeah, so my recommendation and what I do with my clients is before I even take them on as clients is I try to find out more information about them and what's motivating them. Why do they want to lose the certain amount of weight now, and what's the reasoning behind it. So I like to do what's called motivational interviewing is basically just trying to find out what's the reasoning why they want to lose that amount of weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just keep asking questions. Well, if they want to lose weight, well, why do you want to lose weight? What's the reasoning behind that? And then they might say they just want to look good, or so why do they want to look good, right? But we all have a reasoning behind why we want to do things, right? And if you want to ultimately make that change,
Mm-hmm.
if you really do want to make that change, you'll stick by um, you know the nutrition and the fitness. I think it's just important to just ask, like, well, the why, the reasoning behind the change that you want to make. And if it's not a good enough reason, then yeah, you're not gonna make that change. And you have to set a specific amount of goal. You can't just say you want to lose weight. With your wife, she had a specific amount of weight to lose. I think it's just more, diving deeper into the reasoning why they want to lose that amount of weight.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just go from there. And it's all basic discipline for me. If I feel like the client or the person doesn't want to help themselves, how can I help that client if they're not willing to help themselves?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, exactly. That makes absolute sense. Let me put this real quick, man, because I saw this on your profile. Is still correct?
oh
Right.
yes, thank you. I
All right, cool. Let me
appreciate
put
it.
that also. No, absolutely, man. That's what it's all about. We gotta promote each other. Let me also put that in the comment section so people actually can click on the link, right? So I mean, that's brilliant what you start off with, because that's where most people fail, right? Just
Hmm.
not having a clear why. And well, look, my I can't say she failed because she watches these interviews, but basically, to be honest, she failed even before she started, right? Because she said like, okay, I want to lose 5 kilos, and 30 minutes later already she's in a bag of chips and drinking a can of Coke. And yeah, I tried that. Like, why? And she's just like, I want to fit in my clothes again. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably not going to be a strong enough why. So you might want to keep digging a little deeper.
Yeah, and
So
like, you ask that question, well, why do you want to fit in your clothes again? Then, it's kind of like peeling back the onion, right? Like you find you find the why behind their why, is what I like to say. And I'm not saying you out there and completely change your nutrition and your fitness, because that's where a lot of people fail, is they do a complete 180, and try to go strictly on, making the turnaround. But it's an everyday struggle. Like as a dad, it's a struggle every day, right? So you want to make sure every day you're taking that one step forward, and it doesn't have to be a big step. It can be a small step towards whatever goal that you have, whether that be just cutting back on the calories each and every week, or doing one more rep, one more set every workout. As long as you're progressing and you're not regressing, I think that's key.
I like that, and that way you answered my other questions. So I appreciate that. It was indeed like, what's the number one key to be fit, and that's what you said, right? Just taking that step every single day. Doesn't have to be big, as long as it's a step forward towards claiming that goal that you've set for yourself. That's great advice, man. I'm gonna try again tonight, see how far we get with the conversation. So I appreciate that. I've actually heard once that it was Dean Graziosi who mentioned, like, you should ask 7 times why to really peel that onion, as you mentioned, to come to the core of why somebody wants to do it. So maybe I should just listen to what you just advised and what Dean said, and start.
Yeah, just start asking questions.
Yeah, exactly.
Eventually you'll get to the point where they start to find their reasoning and their real why.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, what I was impressed about, and what I really want to talk about as well with you, is you're in the Navy, which I'm sure is costing you a lot of time every single week, right? And then you're working on building your own business, right? For the people that are listening, real business, go to redendionisio.com, right? Check it out, what he's doing. He's Operation Fit Dad. And for any single dad that doesn't believe in health is important, please go visit the website, because it's the most important thing and one of the biggest gifts that you can give your child. So that's it. So you got that. Then you got a 10-month baby daughter. So that requires a lot of attention, right? Key moments till they leave the house, pretty much, right?
Yeah.
And you got a beautiful wife, as you said. So I'm just wondering, how do you manage your time to make sure that everything just works and everything gets at the time that they deserve?
Well, what I've done in the past and what I do now is, it's all about planning for me and organization. And sometimes, sometimes your week doesn't go the way you want it. But I like to plan ahead as far as like the days and the weeks. So I like to do a grid where I plan out the week, and I pretty much block out times or certain hours for what's important to me. So what's important to me right now? So I'm a dad. So the most important thing right now for me is my family, and spending time with my wife and my daughter. Secondly, I'm also I'm a Christian. I like to block out every week we go to church, so that's on there. And obviously, with me being still active duty, basically at Monday through Friday, and occasionally Saturdays or Sundays, depending on if I have duties or whatnot.
Mhm.
During the day, that's pretty much what I do. So if my recommendation for those people that are watching right now, if they have a hard time, with their organization or planning, it's just, putting that on the board, putting what's most important to you on the board and making it non-negotiable, right? And you want to make sure if family is important to you, you want to make sure you put that first. If your religion, whatever, you worship is important to you, then you put that on there. And obviously you want to make sure you block out the time for your source of income, your source of living, right?
Mhm.
Um, just like I said, man, it's all about making time for what really is important for you and what's going to propel you to help out with whether that be with your family, your personal life, or your business.
Exactly, I like that. So for those that, because most of us don't do that, right? And then when one thing pops up, that's what you go for, and then the next thing and the next thing, before you know it, life is just running you, and you go absolutely crazy. What would you say, or what would be your advice for people to get like it, from what you're explaining? You're really clear on what's most important, right, for you, and that's makes planning a lot easier. What would be your advice for people that don't have that clarity? How would they go about creating it? How do you do it?
Well, for me, for example, I have a whiteboard here in my office,
Mm-hmm.
and I do it by week, not by month, because I think a week is a good amount of time to plan out what you want to do. And I have certain hours, like I said, that I block out for each days of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And I also make a list of what's important and what I need to do now versus what's important but can hold off later. Um, I don't know if you've heard of the I don't really know the exact name, but there's a method where Stephen Covey
Mm-hmm.
um, has the grid, the 2x2
Mm-hmm.
grid,
Yeah.
where it lists what's important to you and what's urgent, what's important but it's not urgent, not important and urgent, and not important, not urgent.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to kind of list what I need to do for the week, like for example, with my business or with my personal life, and I go off by that list and make it a priority to do what's important and urgent at that time.
Exactly. Yep. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective Leaders, I think it is.
Oh,
I
his book, yeah, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Yeah.
highly recommend that book. I've read it in Dutch, so I keep thinking of what's the title again, because the title that I keep reading is different than it actually is in English. But definitely a great book, highly recommendable. So I'm glad you brought that up for people that are struggling with that aspect, because he really dives into that to make sure that you get great clarity on what's most important in your life and how to then plan and set it up and overcome the problem that we mentioned earlier. Not saying I don't have the time, right?
Right.
Cool, man. Cool. Let me put this away. So there we go. And so that's it, man. I'm wondering, how do you go about then growing your business alongside everything that you got set up? What's your strategy to get this done the way that you have envisioned it?
Oh man, I can tell you it's not easy right now. It's always a struggle for those who are, maybe aspiring to be entrepreneurs or having their own businesses, because that's the thing right now, right? Everybody wants to do, have their own business and have their own companies. But my suggestion would be, if you're really focused and that's what you want to do, you better have a good reasoning of why you want to do that,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, if you're not passionate about it, if you don't want to really do it, it won't last. You'll do it for a certain amount of time, but then it'll fade away. So my recommendation is, basically, if you're passionate about something, like with me, I'm passionate about helping other dads because, that was me at one point. And I feel like I can relate to, especially new dads that are maybe struggling with their time and, with whether spending that with their family and just on themselves, whether they're with their health and nutrition. Yeah, my recommendation is making sure you're, again, just going back to the why, making sure your why is strong enough and it's a good enough reason to do what you want to do, and just balancing out the time. Oh, that's another thing. Like, people talk about, balance between work, your relationship and your business. I heard this before from one of my mentors, is there really is no balance, because whatever you're spending time on at that certain day, or like I said, time, that's getting the more focus, right? So for example, right now we're here doing this interview. You're focusing on the fearless fathers out there. You're spending time with me, which I greatly appreciate, and that's time that you could have done, you could have spent with your family, right? So there really is no balance with work, business, and personal life. It's whatever you're spending your time with, that's getting the most attention. So I think being prioritizing your time and what's important to you, and just being passionate about what you're doing. If you're not passionate about it, like I said, it's gonna fade away, and you're not gonna stick with it.
Yeah, exactly. Appreciate you sharing that. That's absolutely valuable. What does it look like for you? Because I looked a little bit on your Facebook. I think you're going to be at least 4 more years in the Navy, right? What do you have for yourself? Because you're building this on the side now. What's your future plan, or what's your future vision that you have for yourself and your family?
Yeah, so looking up on, just re-enlisted for another 4 years, so that'll put me close to 20. So pretty much after that is retirement for me. My plan is, my goal is to by that time have my personal training online business up and running.
Nice.
And my goal is to, just like I said, the most important for me is my family and spending time with them. Hopefully by that time I'll have a team around me that can help me out with my business, and spending the rest of the time with my friends and family, and making sure I'm always there for my daughter. I try to make I try to make time as much as I can now, with me being an active duty military, as much as I can, whether that just be for 30 minutes or an hour during lunchtime. My house is not that far from base. So
Nice.
yeah, I just go home every lunchtime, or at least I try to, when I can, just to spend time with them. So, for me right now, after 20 years, my goal is to just hopefully live out the rest of my time with my family, and then building up this business that I've started while I've been in the military. I also have other business going on, so like I said, it's all about prioritizing and staying committed and passionate about what I'm doing. So
exactly. Nice, man. Good. Well, wish you best of luck with that, of course, and the way you're going, and from what you share so far, I can't expect anything else but success. I I was wondering this as well because you mentioned that you've served a long time and you're going to serve several more years, right? One
Hmm.
of the most important things also in business is serving, right? Serve the people that you want. You're serving that, but you're also serving your country. So I'm just wondering for you, what does serving mean, and how are you applying it within your business?
That's a good question. What does service mean to me?
Serving, sorry. So
Serving,
serve,
right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, serving, whether that be my country or with my business, I think the most important thing and what it means to me is sacrifice. And I
Mm,
know this is like a common theme in the interview, but sacrificing your time, um, to your business, because that's like I said before, that's time that can go into something else, right? And if you're a family man, that's sacrificing your time on your business and sacrificing that time away from your family. So I think it's very important, like I said, uh, to make sure that you plan ahead and you're organized with your time, because as an entrepreneur, um, whether you have success or you're gonna have your ups and downs every day.
mm,
So you want to make sure that you're always providing that time that you have with your family, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to be there for you, right?
mhm,
Whether you succeed or you fail, your family, your children are going to be right there waiting for you.
mhm,
So you want to make sure, you know, money, business, success, all that's very important, but um, nothing is more important than your family. So um, for me, I try to spend as much time as I can with them, making sure that they know that I'm here, that I'm present, and and I think that's key. It's whatever you do, whatever you're doing at that time, whether that be for an hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, being present. You want to make sure you're present in that time, in that moment of your life. You're present with your family, and if that's with the family or the business, is
mhm.
being present and making the most out of that time.
Absolutely. Oh, almost forgot to click the button. Well said, man. I appreciate that, Ren. So let me ask you one of the last questions that I had for you, and one of the things that probably have a great answer for as well. As you know, my business is called Become a Fearless Father, right? And I'm assuming that you have a great philosophy on what fear means for you and how to deal with it.
How to deal with fear? Um, Man, that's a good one. For me, is how I deal with fear is I like to face it head on. I mean,
Mhm.
we all have our challenges every day as dads. Um, you know, every day is something different with our babies and our kids, right?
Mhm.
So for me, it's facing that challenge and that fear head on. Um, a lot of people nowadays, when difficulties arise or there's problems, people try to turn the other way, or people just, as soon as they encounter obstacles, they quit. That's the
Mhm.
first thing that people want to do nowadays. I think my challenge to dads and just people out there in general is just stand up, to the challenges, face it head on, and accept the outcome, whether that be good or bad. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, know that it's every day is going to be a struggle. Um, whether that be with if you're trying to you lose weight, trying to be healthier, or just trying to be a better dad, better person in general. Every day is a challenge, but as long as you don't give up and don't quit, just face those challenges head on, learn from the mistakes that that you've made. And believe me, I made tons of mistakes as a businessman, as a husband and a father. We all make mistakes, but I like to say it's not a mistake you don't fail if you learn from it, right? We all have difficulties that we've gone through, but you learn from those and you just keep moving on, just keep moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. You only fail when you quit, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice, man. I appreciate that. Great answer. So, Reden, for all the fathers out that are watching and that are really struggling with their health, they want to get to know you, or maybe they have some other questions in regards to what you shared with us. How can they connect with you besides, let me share it again real quick, besides checking out your website?
Yeah, they can connect with me on Instagram at redendionisio.com. Every now and then I share, tips, advice, just content to help out dads out there, along with, my personal life. They can go to my free Facebook group, Operation Fit Dad, on Facebook. Every day I put content on there that can help them out with their health and fitness.
Nice.
Every now and then I go live, and go on the website, check it out, apply for a free interview, and we'll see how I can help you out.
That's great. Awesome. So, Reden, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate it. I know we just talked about your whole schedule. It's absolutely amazing. So I appreciate you taking the time to being on the show. Everybody that spent some time with us, I appreciate you. Thank you. I hope you got some value out of it. If you did, do me a huge favor. Definitely go check out his website, but also the group. I will share the group later in the other videos. And make sure you like this and share this with your friends, and so they can benefit from it as well. All right. So thanks, and have an amazing day. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Are you still meeting up with your friends now that you're a father? Kids making you stress out. You got no time for yourself to work out, read, or relax. Can you still remember the time you were hanging out with your friends, feeling energetic, happy, and confident? Spending time together and talking about your life and your crazy dreams. You're feeling alone now, don't you? No one to share your challenges with, and you're just running around from one storm into the next. Well, it's time to change this now. Join me and the Brotherhood of Fearless Fathers to speak on a weekly basis with like-minded dads to crush your challenges, face your fears with determination, be held accountable, and regain control of your life. If you want to become the hero your family needs you to be, then go to becomeafearlessfather.com/brotherhood. Looking forward to seeing you on one of our next calls.